They don't trust us. A lot of people think that we are crooks, and frankly, a lot of them are. I feel powerless, right? Like, don't feel powerless, because the moment that you give in and say that you're powerless, they win. That's what they want you to do. I physically was hot, right? And so he comes up and he's like, calm down, calm down. I was like, no! I was so mad. Most people voted the wrong way because they were uneducated, and that's not to call them dumb. But literally, life sometimes is life, and you're trying to keep a roof over your head, keep food on the table, trying to make sure that your kids have what they need. And so you're not tuned in. Educate, kick, drag, scream, do whatever you have to do, because we say every election is a matter of life and death.
I am super duper excited to bring one of the baddest black women on the planet who ain't ever scared. Back down for what? Would you make some noise live on the Jamal Bryant Podcast? Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is in the building. You may be seated. I'm jumping back and pinching myself.
Me too.
We have watched you on television, watched you online, and all of our hearts are outside of our chest because in the middle of a Trump-Musk administration, you have shown us what fearlessness is supposed to look like. I got to give you your props and your flowers. Are y'all proud of this super bad sister? I want to know where you find your courage when there are so many who are compromised.
Yeah, it's an interesting question to pose, especially as I sit here in the midst of your congregation.
Yeah.
God has not given me a spirit of fear, and that is not just something that we should walk around and say, because I think that all of us have those scriptures that we can quote, but it's a matter of, do you live it? Do you believe it?
Yes.
Do you internalize it? And I do. I got to be smart about how I move. But at the end of the day, why should I be afraid when I know that there would not be a Jasmine Crockett but for those that were literally risking their lives, and some of them died,
Yes.
so that I could be in this seat?
What it is that you represent for this next generation of leadership behind the amazing legacy of Sheila Jackson Lee and Congresswoman Bernice, to know that leaders keep coming.
Yeah.
Your pastor and I are very good friends, and we lamented about a year ago that the problem with black leadership is that we didn't have space for succession because we had to live through assassination. And it has slowed down the train. As a consequence, there are a whole lot of people who don't know how to retire because there is no model.
Yeah.
And so many young people are saying, what's the point? Why do I even get in?
Yeah.
People are holding on with their claws and won't pass that torch.
Yes, indeed, honey.
How have you been able to really snatch the torch for people who want to tell you to wait your turn?
That's such a deep question. I will say this, though. A lot of people don't realize, unless you're in my district, that my predecessor did legitimately pass the torch to me. She had served the state of Texas for 50 years.
Wow.
So she was one of the two first Black women that were ever elected to the state house. And then she was only the second Black woman to be elected and the last Black woman to be elected to the Texas State Senate after Barbara Jordan. And then she actually chaired redistricting when they went through redistricting and this district was created. And so she was the only Black woman elected on the federal level in the DFW area for 30 years. And then one day she called the wild and zany freshman down in the Texas house and said, "It is time for me to retire. And I think you are the one that should succeed me." Yeah. And And denoting the fact that the audience clapped is almost kind of letting people know that it's okay, that we will celebrate you.
Yes.
Like, I celebrated her. And there are so many constituents that say, we thank God that Eddie Bernice chose you because they trusted her judgment. And so there were so many people that said, this is the one. Now, it was 10 of us, and they all thought they were the one, right? But they were like, but Eddie Bernice chose this one.
Yes.
And they trusted her. And so I think that there is something to be said for a smooth transition. There is something to be said for looking for the characteristics in which you see yourself in that next generation and then helping and supporting them. We need the continuity, because when somebody just dies and they haven't pulled somebody up behind them,
Yes.
that only sets us back. And so I thank God for her foresight. I thank God for stepping out and being somebody that we don't normally see in these political times. And I remember one of the things that she told me, and it will always stick with me. She said that political times have changed. Now, you would think somebody who's been on the federal level for 30 years to say that the times have changed, you would hope that she's talking about things have gotten better.
Right.
But really what she was saying was like, things have gotten off the chain, right? And so she was like, this ain't my ministry no more. I think that it is time. And I do think that for those that don't recognize that the game has changed or that the fight has changed, it is holding us all back if you can't kind of adjust. Yeah.
You have used to your advantage with that which I wish a whole lot more administrators, legislators would use. You have used social media as your secret weapon to get it out. How many of you all were introduced to the Congresswoman through social media? And a lot of people just use social media for memes and for jokes and for gossip. I want you to weaponize the listeners, the viewers' phone on how they can use social media to advance the cause.
Yeah, so one of the things that I tell people all the time is that most people don't really want to hear from a politician. They don't trust us. A lot of people think that we are crooks, and frankly, a lot of them are. A lot of them think that they are liars, and frankly, a lot of them are. But think about the people that you're sitting next to, right? Like, these are the people that you are in community with. They will listen to you, and they don't believe that you have an ulterior motive, right? Like, when you sit down and you decide to have a conversation about what is going on in the world, they will listen. They are not necessarily having this guard up. And so honestly, as far as I'm concerned, your voice is so much more powerful than mine, because people look at me through a lens and they be like, what's she trying to get at? What's she trying to do? Right? Like, that's how they look at the average politician. So what I will say is that don't let people make you feel powerless. That is one of the things that I keep hearing from people is like, I feel powerless, right? Like, don't feel powerless, because the moment that you give in and say that you're powerless, they win. That's what they want you to do. But one of the best examples that we've had in modern day times just took place when somebody decided that they needed to have a little parade, and it was little. It cost us a lot, but it was little. But the free protest, the No Kings protest, listen, I just had a conversation where I was talking about there were so many things that were first for Barack Obama. But one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is the fact that he was the first one to really effectively use social media and grassroots donations, right? And so here's the thing. Do you think that Barack Obama was like the party pick? If you do, I'm here to tell you he wasn't, okay?
Yeah.
He was not. But it was people that powered that election. When big donors most likely closed the door on him, it didn't matter, because there were people that said, let me give my $5 and my $10, and he had the people behind him. So I want you to know that there are so many more of us than there are of them. And when I say them, I'm talking about the few that are in control and they are trying to hold us all down. So use your voices, whether you do or don't do social media. Use whatever way it is that you communicate, and communicate to people that you would never talk to. Because guess what? We are all on the same Titanic. And right now, it is going down. And it ain't but so many lifeboats. And they got the lifeboats for Elon and them. They not for us. So even your MAGA neighbor or your MAGA coworker, it is time to have a come to Jesus, because they are in pain as well. And for them, it's pretty much self-inflicted.
Tell me, how do you process and what goes on in your mind knowing you're living under an administration where a mayor gets arrested, a congresswoman gets killed, a senator gets shot, an attorney gets dragged, a U.S. senator is pulled out of a hearing? What does that make you feel, and what's in your heartbeat on there isn't even respect amongst colleagues, that these are not rebel rousers on the street corner. These are people who are elected in the office and are still disregarded with no care?
Yeah, this week hit me really hard for so many reasons, and we've been getting hit hard for a minute. LaMonica McIver is a congresswoman in New Jersey, someone I look at like a little sister. And every time I think about LaMonica or talk about LaMonica, it brings me almost to tears, because I feel like I failed her. God has afforded me a level of experience and education that allows me to be the bold person that I am, even when the Attorney General of the United States decides that she want to try to talk noise to me. I feel confident in talking my stuff back. And it is because of my training and my experience. But what good is it if I'm not helping others? And so my heart just broke when I saw LaMonica. And no, I did not contemplate a United States in which we would have sitting members of Congress that are simply trying to do their jobs, get manhandled, get roughed up, get arrested, get charged. LaMonica is now facing 17 years in prison, while we have a 34-count convicted felon that is talking about raining down on law and order. And then to have a sitting U.S. senator, and I was caught off guard with everything that happened with Padilla. I walked into a colleague's office and a staffer said, "Did you see what happened to Alex?" And I said, "Alex?" Well, in the House, we call AOC Alex. And so I was like, "What happened to Alex?" And they pointed to the screen and they were playing a loop of ICE taking Padilla down. And I didn't expect to see that. And I broke out in tears. And I broke out in tears because my heart aches for our country. They may try to say I'm unpatriotic because I say that Black Lives Matter or whatever it is that they want to say. I can tell you that because my ancestors were stolen from our land, this is the only home that I've ever known. And so for me, I have always tried to make this place work for people that look like me. And so to know that they are so bold and brazen in this moment, but the reality is that if they're treating a sitting U.S. senator, the senior senator from the state in which they decided to mosey their happy butts into without an invitation, imagine what they're doing to other people that don't have a platform. Imagine what they're doing to other people that literally no one even recognizes is missing. This isn't what America is supposed to be. Now, I get that America has never lived up to its promise for certain people in this country. But the reality is that, instead of moving forward, we are moving backwards. The reason that there was one candidate that kept saying we will not go back is because she saw the writing on the walls. But I think what is even more heartbreaking is this idea that people want to say that this is partisanship. It is not. This is right versus wrong. This is good versus evil. And so that is why I say reach out to your friends and family and coworkers, even if you feel like they don't see the world the same way as you, because it is not about partisanship. The final thing that I'll say is that there is a documentary that is coming out that I had an opportunity to view the screening of that I'm a part of, and it's called The Inquisitor. And The Inquisitor is about the incomparable Barbara Jordan. And there's so much that I learned in watching this documentary that I actually was a part of. But they go into the Nixon impeachment and they talk to her. They've got all these interviews of her talking about you can't do this based on feelings. And there was a bipartisan vote that he needed to be impeached. And he decided to resign. This was not about, and listen, Nixon looks like a Boy Scout compared to what we have. And so if we don't start to get to the point that we can just call a spade, then we will forever be lost. And so I think that that's what I see is I see a country that is lost and definitely does not have real leadership in any way, but has a thug that wants to do thuggish things. And so I think we should literally, as some people would say, take our country back. We need to show what we are supposed to be about.
At the time of King's assassination, he had gained more weight than he had ever had in his life. He had become privately a chain smoker. Was having trouble sleeping. A lot of people don't understand the pressure and the weight that comes with targeted leadership.
Yeah.
I want you to walk us through how do you process self-care when so much is aimed in your direction.
Okay, so there is no self-care. I could lie and tell y'all that there is, but I'm not going to. I will tell you that so I'm going to let y'all in on a secret. So me and y'all's pastor and my pastor, we in a group chat. And it's a trouble group chat, right? But at the same time, you know, I don't know. There are random times that I will text these two and be like, I need y'all. And they always answer. And, you know, that is not about cameras. That is not about social media. But these are true shepherds. And so, yeah. So it is important to not only have shepherds, but I remember there's The Atlantic is doing this profile on me. So they're following me. And I remember as we were in the car coming over here and they were asking me about like, now, what are you doing and what's happening? And I said, listen, I said, my pastor, as well as the pastor of this church, I said, they are what I would call throwbacks. They are people that absolutely know the word, know what it's about, and can preach they face off. But at the same time, they understand that there is a greater calling when you say that you are entering the ministry, especially as a Black minister. And I think about the MLKs of the world because all the organizing historically took place in Black church.
Yes.
This was the epicenter of the civil rights movement. And so, you know, there are those, in my opinion, that have strayed away from that. And then there are those that understand that when you have people like me that are on the front lines, if I send a text, even if it's waking them up early in the morning, that just them texting me back, it matters. And so, yes. So no self-care, for sure, but also just really having a good support system in general that includes you, that includes my pastor, that includes what I would consider to be my day ones. Politics is a funny world.
Oh, yes.
And everybody wants to be your friend when you quote unquote on top. But my question is, who was it that loved me and believed in me to get me to this place? Mm-hmm. And those are the people that I keep closest to me. Those are the people that will look at me and say, it is time for you to stop. Those are the people that will take me. I remember for my birthday, they were like, what you gonna do? I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. They were like, no, you're gonna do something. and they force me. And so it's about making sure that your circle is full of people that, number one, understand the purpose that God has put on your life and will continue to fuel you, but also know when to rein you in, and they will always be your protectors. You don't have to worry. Y'all just found out about the group chat because I just told you. But I ain't never got to worry about them leaking what's in the group chat. Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We welcomed you to Georgia. Our Congressman Hank Johnson was just here to embrace you. There's only one person that's mad at you in Georgia.
You think it's just one?
Yeah, well, one lead person to be in the same state as Marjorie Taylor Greene. We got security everywhere. Where did the beef come from? How did it start? This is the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Listen, I don't know. She just mad at herself. I have no idea. She was of no consequence to me and still is. But I think that, I was just at an event before I got here, and there was a question that was posed to me. And then ultimately I said that, my party has a branding problem. And I said, we're considered to be weak. And I think that that's kind of across the board. So she thought she could play with me because of how she may perceive the party.
Wow.
She found out. I'm not the one.
Or the two.
And so, but there is this thing, right? Because, I had been going viral. I had been, clowning they little leader, all the things, right? And so she looks at herself as like, the henchman for, her friend. And so she feels like, okay, well, she's always coming for my guy. I'm going to come for her. And thought that was going to be the end of it, because the average maybe person in my party potentially would have just let it go. I wasn't the one. I was not the one. Oh, baby. I remember I was steaming and I was ready. and I had some choice words that were not nice that initially came to my mind. And so I remember Jared Moskowitz, he got up because he could see the steam. Like, I physically was hot, right? And so he comes up and he's like, calm down. I was like, no, I was so mad.
Hold me back.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. And then, so I was like, I know she don't think she just finna, And so we were doing all the technical things, and I was trying to do it the right way, sir. We were trying to do everything right. Then they decided they was gonna be wrong. And I was like, well, 2 wrongs gonna make a right today, baby, because I ain't gonna let it go. And so I remember after I said what I said, I really still wanted to keep going a little bit. And he came up, he was like, you got her. He was like, it's done. You got her. She ain't got nothing to say. And sure enough, he knew in that moment that it was iconic, but more importantly, the petty pastor behind me, mine, I'm in committee, and my pastor calls me. So I text message Pastor Haynes. I'm like, I'm in committee. He like, I know. And I'm thinking, well, why you calling me? I'm at work. And he said, the next time you say bad built bleach blonde or bleach blonde, bad built butch body, make sure I ain't got water in my mouth. And so I'm just like, Lord have mercy. So he somehow had caught it live, because we were in committee really late that day. We didn't go in until 8 p.m. But I had no idea that he was watching or he had seen it. But he knew I was in committee and gonna call me in the middle of committee anyway.
Now that your pastor was watching, we're glad you edited those words, because it could have went south real quick. I want you to give us some marching orders. You tried to warn us. Vice President Kamala Harris tried to warn us about the reality of Project 2025. They've been planning it for years. And part of our problem is we don't plan, we react. So I want you to get us in position for midterm elections.
Yeah.
And what it is that we need to be doing.
So even before midterms, I don't want y'all to miss any elections, not a single one. I don't care if it's dog catcher. I need y'all to show up. And let me give you the reality of why. We are losing on the federal legislative level because there is no fight. We don't have the numbers. And so the Republicans have decided to roll over and just let them do whatever they want to. And so literally the three co-equal branches of government, that experiment is failing us, at least on one side. But the judiciary, of all things, I never wanted to put my hopes and dreams into the judiciary. The judiciary is actually holding up somewhat. With that, it is local elected officials. It is governors. It is attorney generals. It is mayors. It is county elected people. Those are the people that are standing in the gap. Those are the people that are suing this administration. They are winning. So, while everybody want to show up once every 4 years for president and act like it ain't no other elections that have taken place, I want you to understand that every single election, our lowest voter turnout elections are always our city elections. But literally, they're dragging in mayors from various cities and talking about, oh, you want to be a sanctuary. They just dragged in a bunch of our governors last week. They are really doing yeoman's work. And so it is so important that you participate. And right now, the entire country is watching Georgia specifically for y'all's gubernatorial race.
Yes.
Everybody's watching. Now, the reality is that Georgia, y'all done this before. Y'all can do this. Y'all can get it done, right? And when I say before, of course, I'm talking about delivering two U.S. senators to us. Y'all absolutely have a Senate race that's on the ballot. We absolutely need to make sure that we hold that seat, just like you held the seat for the other senator in this state. Like, I need y'all to understand that it's not going to be good enough that you go out and vote. You got to make sure you're educating people. You got to make sure you drag people kicking and screaming. I know y'all got children and grandchildren and nieces and nephews and say, this don't matter to me. It does. It does. And if there is something that they are just uninformed about, you need to make the connection for them, because I tell people all the time, you may not be politically engaged, but you are absolutely politically impacted. So connect the dots. Most people voted the wrong way because they were uneducated. And that's not to call them dumb, but literally life sometimes is life. And you're trying to keep a roof over your head, keep food on the table, trying to make sure that your kids have what they need. And so you're not tuned in to the endless news cycle, or you don't know what the truth is. Y'all need to connect the dots. You need to tell them if they're losing out on their $6 a day in SNAP benefits, it's because of the people in power. If they're about to lose their Medicaid, which may be called something else in the state of Georgia, y'all need to learn the Georgia name for it and say you about to lose it because of them. If you've got somebody that's got a high-risk pregnancy right now and they're saying, I got to leave the state because I may end up, because we saw what happened to that young lady that they decided there would just be an incubator. Like, you need to connect the dots and let them know that you don't have to live like this, that you can have better, but you have to decide that you are going to do your part to make sure that you are fighting for the life and the future that your children deserve. And that means showing up and being educated, not being played. I don't care what no celebrity nothing says. We all got cell phones. Y'all need to Google and figure it out for yourself. Don't listen to that random rapper who think they about to get some kind of tax rebate, which they probably are, but that ain't got nothing to do with you because you don't have the money that he got, right? So I just say educate, 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 kick, drag, scream, do whatever you have to do, because we say every election is a matter of life and death. People have already died, and it's not been 6 months, and it has been a direct correlation with what it is that this administration has done. The final point I'll make, because I know you got to get to the more interesting part, which is my pastor, is that
I need members like you. You are incredible. This is great. Come, y'all don't love your pastor? Yeah, this was great.
The final point I'll make is that they have a way of making us believe in this scarcity mindset. So we have this thing where it's like, oh, if you send money over here, then I'm not getting the money that I need. So one of the things that it was easy for them to attack was USAID. Because they were like, oh, y'all sending all them millions over there, we could have the millions. Not recognizing that USAID is literally not even 1% of our budget. They want you to focus on pennies. It's a lot if it was in our bank account, for sure, right? But legitimately, they wanted you to focus on that and be distracted so you wouldn't ask questions about the other 99.5% of the budget, about the money that's going to Elon. Like, people really got, like, confused, right? Elon and Trump started to tell some truth when they started to have a little beef, right? And all of a sudden, once they was beefing and all of, like, the truth was coming out, because Trump was like, well, we could save some money if we just cut your contracts. I'm like, I've been saying it. Like, just cut his contracts. Yes, I've been saying it. Like, we are overpaying. These contracts for defense, they decided to take defense spending up $1 trillion. They decided that every ICE agent should be entitled to at least a $42,000 bonus. While these fools are going out here dragging people and doing all this kind of stuff, and then they're going to tell people, no, we're going to take your health care. No, we're going to take food away from you. No, we're going to take your housing vouchers away. And then people want to say, well, it's about the money y'all sending overseas, not understanding that one of the reasons people haven't been flying planes into buildings in the United States is because of our soft power, is because of the diplomacy that we were doing, where we were building relationships where people would look at us and say the Americans are good people. Because when we spend money for, say, them to get medicine in their country, it don't cost what it costs here. It costs pennies. That was helping to keep us safe here. Don't let them play you. Don't let them divide you. I don't really care what you think about the LGBTQIA community. I don't really care what you think when it comes to abortion. I don't really care what you think when it comes to immigration. If you allow them to cherry pick you, then at the end of the day, something that you do care about, one of the freedoms that you do hold dear, is going to be under attack. That's what happens. You get that people was like, oh yeah, kick them out. And then while they're going and kicking them out, the farmers is like, now, wait a minute. I wanted you to kick certain people out, but now I'm going to lose my farm. Like, I'm telling you, our fates are interlinked. So, of course, I care about all the things that I just said, but I'm telling you that don't even try to convince people. If they don't agree or what, it ain't about that. At least agree that you believe that you should be free in this country and recognize that they coming for you next. That's it. It's very simple. So I'm just saying, make sure that you stay as united as possible and stop seeking perfection in your politicians, because you will be let down every single time. There is no perfection in your preachers nor your politicians. No offense.
Thank you.
No perfection.
Even me, Lord.
Yeah, so stop seeking it. Stop seeking it. You know how many times people wanted to talk about Kamala Harris and is she black enough and all this other stuff? It don't matter. How many black women became president anyway? Y'all was okay when the other ones wasn't black? Like just stop. Just stop, because they allow you to play yourselves. They really do. They get in, and then all the while they got you critiquing her on whether or not she black enough, whether or not her agenda is black enough. Well, let me tell you, the one that we got is anti-black. That's all I do know, right? So I'm just saying, recognize that we will never give you 100% of what it is that you want, and that we are not asking you to be with us for life. We asking you, when I run, it's every 2 years. Just give me 2 years, okay? You can dump me after 2 years if you want to. When you're voting for a president, it's for 4 years. Most of y'all stay with y'all spouses and y'all don't agree with them all the time, so I don't even know why y'all tripping. I'm just saying.
Jasmine Crockett for president. Drops mic. That's it. 2028 is coming, y'all. Would you help me thank God for my sister? I am just glad for her life, for her assignment, for her heart, and for her spirit. You're watching the Jamal Bryant Podcast. Let's be clear. I'm in the building with the first woman black president of the United States of America, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She's on loan from Texas, but she belongs to all of us. Aww. Where them fans at? Come on now. Thank y'all so very much. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm grateful for you.